Ginny and I are the daughters of Virginia and Roland Baber. Our wonderful big sister Nora, named for our grandmother Nora, was 2.5 years old when we were born. Needless to say, our arrival was a surprise to that sweet toddler, who up until then had been an only child and the first grandchild. Our mom, Virginia, for whom Ginny was named, had a magic touch with decorating. She was on a budget, so she bought furniture secondhand, refinished, reupholstered, and transformed items that made our home beautiful. She and my dad did everything themselves, from sewing, painting, plumbing, electrical work. They could do it all. Our dad, Roland, for whom I was named, was a draftsman. He drew meticulous plans for piping design and other manufacturing systems. I guess you could say their influence gave us confidence to be creative. Ginny and Steve created a beautiful home filled with lovely treasures and beautiful paintings. There is an entire wall of gorgeous paintings that Ginny created. It is a treat for the eyes and the soul. Ginny has always looked at the world in a beautifully different way, and that has always fascinated me. For instance, when we were little, we were discussing what we would be when we grew up. I wanted to be a nurse and a mom. I thought she was going to tell me that she wanted to be a teacher or a dancer. Instead, she went straight to what is the most important. She told me it didn't matter what her profession was. She just knew that what she was meant to do was to love people. That answer surprised me, but she was right. Ginny did become a teacher, and although she retired 19 years ago from teaching, I have former students and their parents come to me wherever I go and tell me that she was their favorite teacher. They all love her. Now, that is a legacy. Her favorite teaching position was a kindergarten teacher. She loved those little kiddos. It was the perfect fit, and I know she encouraged each of them to love people. Ginny was blessed with twin daughters, Nikki and Erin, and a son, Jacob. She loved creating with them and for them. I remember the time she would load up her car with fabric, paint, and her sewing machine. She would arrive at Nikki or Erin's house, paint a room or two, make curtains and throw pillows, buy a new piece of furniture or a rug, and by the time she left there would be a whole new look and a lot of good memories. She and Steve hosted Jacob and Nicole's wedding in their yard. They cut, trimmed, planted, decorated, and turned their yard into the perfect outdoor wedding chapel. Nothing is too much work as long as they are making their kids happy. Throughout her life, Ginny has always thought of and loved people. Her greatest joy is creating. She has made ceramics, jewelry, stained glass, sewing projects, and most especially watercolor paintings. She really loves to paint, and she loves to share her paintings. They are full of beautiful colors and reflect her beautiful personality. I am so blessed to be her twin sister. It is an honor to watch her fulfill her dreams and to see what a wonderful influence she is on so many people. God has blessed us both with wonderful lives together, and I am filled with wonder and gratitude.
For me, Ginny's paintings are a symbol of her spirit. Colorful, loving, joyful, and beautiful. I guess the finest thing one person can say about another is that knowing them makes you want to be a better human being. And that's who Ginny is for those who know her well. Ginny always brings the light in her smile, in her love for Jesus and her family and friends, in her compassion for children, and in her passion for painting. I have been blessed with many wonderful, loving friends throughout my life, but it is extra special to have a friend like Ginny that you can trust with your heart.
To start off, I'd like to explain how I met Ginny. It was on August 27th, 1972. It was her first day on campus. She and Rhonda had arrived with her parents to check into the dorm at school, and I just happened to be there, and we met, and it's been a great friendship and relationship ever since. Of course, later I married Rhonda, her twin sister. Ginny has always been an inspiration to me because she is so caring and giving, But one of the things that was always a neat thing for me was I would love photography, and I would be involved in that. And whenever I would be taking some pictures, Ginny would want to come over and see what I had done. And we'd sit at my computer. And as she looked at my pictures, and often of nature, flowers, different things like that, she would look at a particular picture and say, "Oh, you know what that is? That's a painting."
Amongst my many memories of the wonderful things that Ginny has done for me and my family, she surprised me one time for painting a mural of me snorkeling in my classroom. And she did this because she knew my love of the ocean, and this was for my birthday. And believe it or not, it's still there after 20 years after retirement. My fondest memory, even though it got us in a bit of trouble, was using thematic units in teaching kindergarten that we created across the curriculum. In doing this, we had to create our own charts for the children to learn to read by meaningful subjects. And she loved drawing the illustrations, and she was so good at it. We really got good at our presentation, and then we presented in Columbia to over 200 people in 2 sessions. We really had a song and dance routine, and after our presentation, a woman from Desi came up to us and asked us if we would consider to present at Lake of the Ozarks for another conference. We were certainly honored, but however, we were not aware of the power struggle going on between the principal and the assistant principal. Somehow, innocently, we got right in the middle of it. It did work out that we presented, but we felt awful about it, like we were sneaking around or doing something that we shouldn't be doing. Ginny has been my best buddy for so long. We got into so many little projects, but she's always been fun and loving and generous and especially joyful. We brainstormed and had so much fun doing it, and I just love her so.
I have known Jenny for over 30 years. She is one of the kindest, most loving, generous people I've ever met. She's easy to be with. She's so lovable. And when she was still teaching years ago, she taught kindergarten, I went to her classroom twice. And the kids were so quiet. She was so good with them. And they sang me a song both times that I went, and it was just sweet and precious. She was such a fabulous teacher. So kind, just the way she always was. She is a precious, precious person, and I love her very much. And now I tell her, I love you, and I know you love me. And anyway, and we sing together, and that's fun. I'm glad that she's in my life, and I'm glad that I have known her all these years.
Growing up, we were always surrounded by beautiful things. Mom had a great eye for decorating and accessories and loved to show off treasures handed down from her mom and family, and of course the treasures that she added through the years. We all had good art classes and influences in school, but did not really have the opportunity to express our own talents until we were older. Despite the tough times Ginny has experienced, she's always seen the beauty in the people in the world around her, and been able to translate that beauty into her art. I am forever grateful to have been able to view the world through her eyes, and that she has been able to share her beautiful paintings and love with so many of her family and friends. It is an amazing legacy that we will always treasure.
Ginny is a kind and gentle soul who sees the best in everyone, and I am very fortunate to call her my friend. Since Ginny's daughters, Nikki and Erin, are the same age as my daughter, Emily, Ginny and I have spent a lot of time together over the years. There were birthday parties, brownie meetings, and sports activities. But my favorite outing with Ginny and girls was our annual Christmas trip into St. Louis to see the Nutcracker Ballet. The girls were 3 when we first took them, all dressed up in their pretty holiday dresses and looking darling. One year we drove through a snowstorm. One year we saw the Nutcracker on ice. And once we went to Springfield to see a production. We continued with this tradition all through the girls' high school years, and those are such special memories. Ginny and I taught together at the elementary school here in St. James for many years. One year we went to St. Louis for a state teachers meeting because we wanted to hear the keynote speaker, Leo Buscaglia. We got to the parking garage and drove around and around, but couldn't find a spot. We finally noticed one, but it was blocked off by a wooden barricade. I looked at Ginny, she looked at me, and with a little giggle she hopped out of the passenger side, moved the barricade, and in I went. We really felt like we had gotten away with something. At school, Ginny was very generous with her artistic talents. For the last 8 years of my career, I served as librarian. We chose a different reading theme each year, and Ginny painted a huge bulletin board in the library to go with the theme and where the students could track their progress. The murals were always colorful and creative, and the work added so much to the fun atmosphere in the library. Her murals continued out into the hallways, and for my last year, she surprised me with a painting of my yellow Volkswagen convertible. Ginny is a self-taught artist, and it has been amazing to witness how her talent has developed over the years. I own a print of Ginny's yellow hibiscus, and it hangs in my bedroom, which brings me a great deal of joy every day. I suspect other people who own a Gini Gaunt painting feel the same way.
She always was interested in nature and the beauty that was there. She liked sunrise, sunsets. Of course, in her painting, she concentrated more on specific things like the flowers and the animals and birds and things. But she was always very enthusiastic about her art and what she did with it. But not only that, what other people had abilities in doing. She showed great interest in my photography and was a great inspiration for me because of that.
Hello, sweet Jenny. While the two of us grew up in St. Louis, just a little over 3 miles from each other, our childhood paths never crossed. Until as young adults, we moved approximately 97 miles southwest to the same little town called St. James. It was here that you became my children's kindergarten teacher, and our treasured friendship began. Ginny, you are a true artist, gifted by our Heavenly Father with so many creative talents that you lovingly share with everyone. While your watercolor masterpieces featured in this video are proudly displayed in many of our homes, your close friends recognize your other talents that transcend the pure cotton paper you use to create each work of art. It's your genuine love and friendship that artistically touches each of our hearts. You brighten our lives with your warm and encouraging smile. Your faith is a perfect example of God's presence, and you show us His clear path to follow. You serve as a perfect example. Matthew chapter 5 verse 16 tells us to let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and then give glory to our Father who is in heaven. When I'm with you, Jenny, your light shines brightly. I see your goodness, and I become your new palette. By your example, you create and inspire me to want to be a better person. I am thankful and will forever give glory to God for bringing the two of us together as dear friends. I love you, Jenny.
I have been friends with Jenny for over 30 years. Thinking of Jenny, 3 things come to mind: Jesus, love, artist. Jenny speaks Jesus in everything she does and everyone she meets. I am so happy that Jenny got to baptize Zane and I. Jenny loves like Jesus. She loves all things: family, friends, cooking, gardening, teaching, the beach, and her love to paint. She is a true artist. Whether it is her beautiful flower gardens or her baking, her artistic ability, you can always see. Her paintings reflect the beauty in all things. So many times as we walked the early morning streets, as the sun would rise, Jenny would stop and look at the beautiful sunrise and say, "That God, he is such an artist." I love my artist friend Jenny, and I love having several of her paintings in our home.
The Gini Gaunt I know is a piece of work. Her beautiful creations of artwork are only bested by her personal beauty. She is the sweetest, kindest, most generous and loving person, and she has an infectious laugh. Her get-her-done attitude and excellent listening skills mold together to create the most lovely human being and friend. I fell in love with Ginny's art because of my own love of flowers. Many of her pieces include a floral element. The piece I love the most is a piece I own, a lovely stretched out daisy, the happiest flower painted in great detail and with a piece of Ginny's heart. Several years ago, Ginny was a close partner to me in expanding our children's ministry to include family worship services. It was a huge undertaking. Her energy and ideas were contagious and plentiful. She was essential in character developments and creating sets and bringing sock puppets to life. She was personally dedicated and supportive and encouraging. There aren't enough adjectives for Ginny. She's a woman who loves the Lord and wears that love every day and expresses it in her deep love for people, kids and adults alike. I'm blessed for knowing her. She is a piece of work, God's handiwork, a lovely work of His art. I love you, Ginny.
One experience we had together, we did an art show together over in Steelville at a place they have called Evans House. The art group in Steelville has purchased that home and had converted it to like a display home for art, and we booked it 1 month, and we had a art show that we named Double Vision. And at that, we displayed our like works, where I would display the photograph I had taken, and she would display the painting that she had done as an interpretation from that photograph. It was really a fun experience to do that. We had in the vicinity of 20 different pictures that we had displayed there that were the double vision, the photograph and the painting. And of course we sold a few of those, and that just made it a little better, but it wasn't about selling them. She just wanted to let it be known that this is what we had done. And I was so grateful that she wanted to be part of that. Ginny is such a dear person, and so sharing and giving, and I just have been honored to be a part of her experience through art and in so many other ways. And it's really wonderful to be able to dedicate or to commemorate or to celebrate her art and the talents that she's had and she has shared with us all.
If there is one thing that has been a constant in my mom's life, it's creativity. From a very early age, she sewed, created scenes in her bedroom, painted, even made ceramics. She spent her life creating beauty using lots of different mediums. During her years in the classroom, she created countless decorations and teaching tools. Mom seemed to have endless ideas and energy, and she always had some sort of creative venture outside her classroom as well. Over the years, she painted items to sell at craft shows, taught art classes, made wreaths, made jewelry, sewed, and was a very good decorator. Painting was her favorite, and she was very accomplished using acrylic, oil, and watercolor. She made ornaments, stockings, and bows at Christmas time, hand-painted eggs at Easter, and always set a beautiful table for all family get-togethers. She was an avid gardener and especially loved hydrangeas and zinnias. She always had a million ideas, and if she had never done something before, she just figured it out, whether it was refinishing furniture, making curtains, painting or wallpapering a room, or planting a flower bed. When I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, her first grandchild, Mom painted the nursery to look like my mother and father-in-law's farm. And when I had my second baby, she painted another bedroom with flowers and upholstered a headboard for her so that my new baby could have the nursery. She also painted old and new Busch Stadium for my husband, who is a lifelong Cardinals fan. All of her artwork is now among our most treasured possessions. She has added an immeasurable amount of beauty to this world. I miss her gifts, but I see them reflected in her grandchildren, and I am thankful to have so much of her artwork.
Growing up, I thought my mom was famous, and she was. Everywhere we went, the grocery store, church, school, kids flocked to her. And that's because she had this magical personality, but it's also because she's always been an artist. She could always create something from nothing. A couple of things I remember is one time she decided to make a Chinese dragon costume for Halloween. And just based on, I think, what we had in the basement, she created this Chinese dragon that could hold 6 people. It was green fabric. It had all these jewels on it. It was amazing. And she just decided to whip it up. And she was always doing stuff like that. And I thought all moms were great artists. It wasn't until I grew up and became a mom myself that I realized how gifted she was. But I have always loved that gift in her and have tried to be more and more like her in that way. When I became a young adult, she put those talents to use, helping me and my sister and my brother establish our own homes. So she would come for the weekend, and she would, in the course of 48 hours, paint entire rooms, refinish furniture, reupholster the furniture, because we didn't have any money. It didn't matter to her. She would make things shine, and she never minded painting. She never minded work. And now I'm amazed that she became a watercolor artist late in life. I'm now in my mid-40s, which is, I think, about the time she decided she was going to pursue watercolor art in earnest. And I'm nowhere near wanting to learn a whole new skill, but she threw herself into it. And then my mom painted like she was running out of time. She was always involved in some new painting. She would sit on the floor, surrounded by her paints and her watercolor paper, and vision in her head, and she would just paint and paint and paint and paint and paint. And she was gifted from the start, but it was so fun to watch her progress. I'm confident that when she's with Jesus in heaven, she's going to be creating art. God's a great creator, and so is she. Now her grandkids walk the halls of Lucy Wortham James Elementary School every day. And those hallways are filled with murals that she did year after year for free. When the school would reach its AR goal, she would go up there again with her bag of paints, and she would spend hours and hours and hours painting. The ones I can remember is there's one that's a space scene. It's got planets everywhere. There's one that I love that's actually Lynn Wilson in a yellow convertible. I don't know if everybody knows that's who that is, but my mom painted that of Lynn, and it looks a lot like her. There's a cowboy. I don't remember all of them, but it was just her gift to the world, and I do know that a day will come when they're going to need to paint over those murals, but I'm so grateful that for year after year after year after year, children have walked those halls, and they might not know my mom's name, and they might not pay a lot of attention to those pictures, but she painted them for them because she loves children, and she wanted to leave them something beautiful. So I am confident that the legacy of my mom's art will go on forever and ever and ever and ever.
We hope that you've enjoyed watching this video. Sharing Ginny's beautiful paintings has been a celebration and a joy. I would like to thank Gene Carney, our friend and videographer, and his wife Judy for making it possible. Their talent and creativity is amazing. Hugs and thank you to Jerry Juergens, my handsome husband, for taking photographs of Ginny's creations. Also, thank you to Ginny's friends and family who shared their stories and allowed their paintings to be photographed. It has truly been a beautiful experience and an expression of love. In their home, Ginny and Steve have a plaque that says, "Scatter Joy." It is exactly how Ginny lives her life. It is amazing how 2 simple words can sum up the secret to being happy and making other people happy. It is the best way to live and to share love. May God bless you and may you find joy always.